Hey everyone, this is Jordan Hildwein, and in this video, I will be covering the basic concepts of transformation. Before we begin, I'd like to say a quote. Nothing we ever imagined is beyond our powers, only beyond our present self-knowledge. Theodore Roszak. Now let's start with the Ascended Masters. The Ascended Masters are beings that reside on the highest plane of existence, and they come through sometimes to help guide us through the lessons that we need to learn. Now, the Ascended Masters define consciousness as the foundation for everything that there is. And they say that God is thought, and out of thought came light, which all things are manifested. Since everything is energy, energy is light. And light then gave birth to sound. So light and sound is the form of everything that we know. And everything we know has its own specific vibrational frequency, which comes from light. It is because we have consciousness that this can be controlled, and consciousness is thought. This, in fact, makes us co-creators with the Supreme Being. This, in fact, is the reason for life, which few ever find the answers to, because someone has to experience enlightenment in order to be able to understand that truth. Most will refuse this because to accept it requires us to be accountable for our actions and hold ourselves to higher responsibilities. And in the etheric, a person behaves at one with the Supreme Being, and in order to do so, a person in their soul must follow certain rules. These rules are termed as universal laws. And the key to understanding the higher consciousness of these universal laws is to purely and to genuinely be one with them. Once the universal laws are displayed with mastery and discipline, hence the term Ascended Masters, then one is in harmony with everything, with the all. In order to be able to do this, one must have the mental and intellectual discipline to understand it. At the center of the universal laws, understanding and employing their knowledge is knowing how the mind works. And because the mind holds the key to transformation, the nature of intellect really is nothing more than one's perception of reality. In all universes, which, by the way, there are 12, which then have their own dimensions, cover that more in depth in another video, but the nature of intellect is nothing more than someone's perception of reality. And most of them, with their perception of reality, are closed-minded. And it is this state of closed-mindedness that gives comfort and security in the dark. And the blockages that hinder intellect exist in the mind and are present because of memory, all forms of memory. And it's understanding all these different forms of memory which will incorporate time. And this is a term used only for the convenient communication. In reality, time doesn't exist. Time and space exist only in the present moment, which still is just a concept that helps to organize our reality and our perception. And the energy blockages are perceptions of reality that cause a person to become out of harmony with everything and themselves. When not in harmony, the difficulties and frustrations of the mind occur. And the mind encompasses everything that you are. As your essence exists in thought, that represents the reality of who you are. This thought is pure energy, right? So everything is energy. Energy is light. Thought is pure energy, and this can be shaped into any form of your choosing, which now specific vibrational frequencies. Reality encompasses intellect, which is the manifestation on the outside of what you believe on the inside. All vibrations, whether good or bad, are stored in the essence of the mind. The intellect inside the mind is the rational process that oversees the so-called thought that in fact shapes reality, or your specific reality. All of the mind and its processes are energy, and it is to be that energy cannot be created or destroyed. Energy is just in fact transformed. Also important, energy is neutral. So when I said good or bad, just a convenient term of communication. All energy is neutral. So, which now is why intellect and the mind are the governing and transforming power of thought and what determines its shape to be. Energy comprises the universe in which you reside. The foundation of creation is thought, and this controls and creates light. Light dictates and controls the molding and processing of all that exists in this universe. And now this leads to all that is physical in a processed form of energy. This is how mathematics and geometry, everything fit into play. They all have a vibrational frequency that leads to energy into light, so on to intellect and the mind, and finally then to thought. This is why vibrational frequency can be measured. And this allows for frequencies above and beyond for the speed of light, which again will be in a later video down the road. Intellect was born out of divine thought, the supreme being, and it was given to everything. And this is how we would be co-creators with the supreme being, created in its likeness. Therefore, we all have the tools within our own consciousness to be so. Since energy follows thought, in that it's within an individual's consciousness, and then is manifested on the outside. This means the energy of thought is that which must be ruled and governed by every individual. Energy being neutral and traveling the path of least resistance is crucial in understanding that to realize your power to shape your own destiny. The curriculum on Earth that must be mastered before moving into higher lessons is light and sound, essentially. All of your creation will be manifested through light and sound. No other phenomena apply. As stated earlier, light and sound work with mathematics, and it's because of this everything can be measured mathematically. Vibrational frequencies, even with atoms, and when you get into quantum physics, relates to light. So, this being the case, the universal laws are the rules that govern all of this and are unchanging and unbending. They are forever. The light of the universal law requires a special form of mental and emotional discipline that very few have mastered today. Again, referencing ascended masters. Such obedience will align you with the behaviors that can associate with what is described as love and light. Know that when the mind is disconnected from the heart, ego shall rule. If unattended, ego will manifest separateness, loneliness, and a disconnect from oneness. And for a better understanding of this lesson, will be ended with an easy definition of intellect. Intellect is the ability to reason without anxiety, to address questions with or which challenge a view of reality. To nurture intellect, there must be an open-mindedness and an ability to process actions with the heart, and the connection to the divine through the subconscious mind as well. Now, coming to the end, remember to nurture the soul, thought, intellect, mind, and the heart. Now, I know there's a lot that was briefly touched on, but everything that was covered in this video will be thoroughly in-depth covered in upcoming videos. And any questions that there may be most likely are going to be thoroughly covered. Thank you, and please subscribe.